Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast. Welcome to the Bridge of Two podcast.
Welcome.
It's good to be back recording a podcast.
Oh yes, much better to be back on the podcast instead of live streaming it on Instagram.
Yeah, that was awful.
That sounded really bad, but it didn't.
Yeah, Jeremiah hated it. He hated my work.
I was there for like 5 minutes.
That's why it was so awful.
I just don't like seeing my own face on camera.
Like every second that ticked by, you were just becoming more and more depressed.
I was. I got off that. When I got off, I just cried.
Apparently, I'm very narcissistic or something because I was just like going strong for an hour watching myself talk.
I love watching myself talk. Yep.
Well, thankfully, there was actually more engagement than I expected.
Yeah, there's a few different people.
I mean, it wasn't. I had my expectations fairly low.
Like 0 people.
Yeah, like 1 or 2, like jumping on at the beginning, you know. But Jonathan Giaquino was on, and he was like asking questions and stuff.
Thank you, John.
That's
awesome.
Johan Martin's wife got on and said hi. I don't know how long she was on for, but I don't know where Johan was. Probably writing.
He was probably with his wife.
Probably actually publishing books. Oh yeah, maybe.
Or just publishing books.
Yeah, just publishing the books.
Doing actual
Making
stuff.
the monies with the words.
I want a signed copy of book 2, Johan.
That's right. I need to finish book 1.
Yeah, you do. It was actually good. So read it.
I'm going to.
It was really good.
Anyway, what's new? We will have a guest joining us at some point. I don't know when they will appear.
But they will appear.
They will appear, and they will lift the podcast to new heights.
Bigger and better things.
Oh.
Our guest has arrived.
Someone appears. Welcome to the podcast, Mr. Steven.
Stephen Black, back for another.
Hello there.
Hello there. Yes. Started off right. We did not start very recently. Or we did start very recently. We didn't
started like 5 minutes ago.
We start so we're still getting going.
Cool.
Yeah.
Getting going on.
How is lifeguarding?
Lifeguarding is good.
Were you at Ponce?
No, I was in Ormond. No, it's good though.
Good.
Back to it.
Right on.
Saving the lives like a true Jedi.
There you go.
Had a couple of good rescues. It's a lot of unguarded water. We have probably, I'd say, a third of the staffing that we normally do.
I heard y'all are like 100 guards down.
Yeah.
Where are they?
The recruit classes, so like the new ones coming in, usually the classes are at like 50 each, and there's usually like 2 to 3 of them. And then there's 3 classes, there's only 2 classes, and I think there was 20 in one and 30 in the other.
I heard there's even less than that.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Or
crazy.
maybe 30 in one. I don't know. It's just a lot.
Are there less people at the beach?
No. There's more.
Huh.
Yeah,
Strange.
If anything, there's more people. At
The people that aren't lifeguarding are at the beach.
Yeah.
Just like how
Adding their lives to the fray.
Yeah, it's how it works. Just like how there's less ambulance staff, but there's more people in the county.
Yes, that's not going to cause any issues.
No,
I don't
not
think.
at all. No. It won't cause burnout or depression or
Longer wait times.
so.
Anywho.
That's one of the things with like lack of guards. Most of the unstaffed lifeguard towers are fairly quiet anyways. So like the main towers, like the main approaches are being staffed.
That's good at least.
Right.
So there was a drowning the other day, but I think it was after hours. I don't know.
Swim at your own risk, people.
Yeah.
I wasn't working. I just heard about it.
The ocean does not care.
The ocean does not care.
Does not care at all. Actually, the ocean in Hawaii doesn't care even more.
Oh, good segue.
To Hawaii?
Well, how about that trip?
I did go to Hawaii.
Steven can fly.
I can.
He flew to Hawaii.
I did not fly to
That's
Hawaii.
Wait, you didn't fly to Hawaii? Wait, how'd you get there?
He swam?
I mean,
He's a lifeguard.
I sat in an airplane. He said I can.
Oh, right.
I did not fly the plane in Hawaii.
You just gotta own up to it.
I could have, maybe. I mean, if you gave me the controls.
Well, to be fair, we didn't say
That's
you flew
true.
a plane. We said you flew.
I did fly a plane one time, but it was also very different than a Boeing 37 we were
I'm not
on.
saying you can fly a plane. I'm saying that you can fly it yourself.
The principles are the same. Low pressure
There's a little bit different.
on top, high pressure on the bottom. Above the wing.
We're going to debunk how to... Actually, there was
All
one
I'm saying,
point-
guys, is the Earth's flat, okay?
Wait, what? That's all I'm saying. Hawaii was great though. I surfed a little bit. We did this legal hike called Stairway to Heaven,
Huh.
Sounds super legal.
and it was beautiful. It was just like you had like stairs, and there was railing, and there was just drop off on either side.
Yeah. Was that a little nerve
It
wracking?
was a little nerve wracking, but it was very fun. I 10 out of 10 recommend
Stairway to Heaven.
Stairway to Heaven.
Did you listen to Stairway to Heaven?
We actually did listen to Stairway to Heaven
Yeah.
while we were walking up.
Yeah, if you don't, you actually
fall.
you fall to your death. It sucks you off the side.
When we cliff jump, where there's no way to really get back up except to climb on all these really sharp rocks with the ocean moving around, and
Smart.
The lifeguard.
the jump was 60
He
feet.
could guard other guys, but he couldn't guard.
It was actually
Were the waves trying to kill you too?
the
throw you against
the waves would push up, and then they would be on the rocks and stuff, and then the ocean would be pulling back out, and then it was actually at the base of a cave. So the ocean would pull into the cave.
Ooh.
It would shoot out like a geyser.
So what you're saying is, all the listeners are really lucky to have you on the episode today, because you could have died.
I could have died, but here I am.
So all of you listening, you're blessed.
Enjoy that I'm.
If you got stuck in the cave, could you shoot out the geyser and be okay?
Yeah, if you didn't get knocked out.
Okay, that sounds really fun.
If you didn't get pulled too far in the cave and drown.
Morbid, jeez.
I mean, you're talking about legs getting cut off and depression earlier, so I think we were just-
Hey, we're about to.
Come
I mean,
that's upbeat.
anyways.
We're about to talk about
That's upbeat, man.
episode 6 of Star Wars. Is
Kenobi, not just episode 6 of Star Wars, episode 6 of Kenobi.
Oh, you're right. Thank you. What has everyone been up to with your sci-fi, fantasy, or video games?
Or Hawaii trips, or...
Yeah, we'll go with Hawaii.
I don't start with me. You go first.
It has been a good couple weeks for me, actually.
Hey.
I am one shift away from finishing paramedic school.
Nice. Congrats.
Got to watch a C-section this morning and labor and delivery for all of you people who want to hear about that. But that's not sci-fi fantasy. Because I'm nearing the end, I have a lot more free time. So I have been playing. I have a new game on the Switch, and it's not new at all. It's actually an old game, but it's new to me. And it's called Xenoblade Chronicles.
Okay.
It is a JRPG, your classic JRPG. It's very open worldy, but the setting of the game, I don't know if you know anything about it. Probably not.
I don't. I've probably seen it before, but I don't remember what it looks like or
The setting
anything.
of the game is these characters, the world. The history is there were these two gods, quotation figures, that were in a never-ending battle with each
Classic.
other, fighting, and they both were able to kill each other, I guess, at the same time. So one of them's actually got a sword stuck in its side, but the world that you play on is on the two creatures.
Oh.
And so, when you go to different places, it's like the two creatures. One's Mechanus and one's. But then the main story is you're these humans and you're being attacked by these mechon. They call them mechon, but they're like robots. These mechon creatures. And there's a certain sword that can only do
The Xenoblade?
the Xenoblade. Actually, no, it's the Monado. But
What's the Xenoblade?
I actually don't know yet. I haven't gone that far.
Spoilers.
But setting is super cool. Game is super fun. I've been really enjoying it actually. So
Okay. And it's a RPG.
JRPG. Yeah.
What does a J stand for in J?
Japanese.
Okay. I never
It's
knew
like
that.
classic anime style.
Right.
So that's been super fun, actually. I've been really enjoying that. And it's on the Switch, so I don't want to play it in bed or whatever. I have...
Good Switch games are... When you find a good Switch game, it's good.
Switches everything up.
There's a lot of good stuff on the Switch right now, though, actually. A lot of good games. A lot of good RPGs. So, if you have a Switch,
Switch it up.
See, it rhymes.
This episode. Switch it up.
The episode title. There we go. I have been playing Final Fantasy 14 a little bit as well.
Nice.
Which has also been very fun. Not as much recently. But
Final Fantasy's getting up there.
Yeah, they're getting 16. You know, they're coming out. Yeah, 16. They're coming out 16. It's already been announced.
I don't remember. Them. I've probably seen them, but I don't remember.
It's cool. It looks good.
Does it look more steampunk? More fantasy?
Fantasy.
Okay.
It looks more fantasy.
Good. Because it is fantasy.
It's the Final Fantasy, actually.
Right.
But, so that's been fun. Getting caught up on Stranger Things finally.
Hey! It's my boy.
Just got to season 2, episode 8. No, episode 7. There's 8 now.
There's 8 in season 1.
Second to last episode of season 2.
Okay.
I really enjoyed season 2.
I'm really enjoying season 2.
Honestly, the show just progresses.
It is actually
That's what I
amazing.
keep being told.
I don't think there's a season where it's like, I
Nope,
can do without.
there's not. I was well, in my opinion, there's not. It's not.
There's parts of season 3
Subjective.
where it's like, all right, we're focusing a little bit too much on some stuff, but
I was just saying to Aaron the other day that it's just these guys that made the Duffer Brothers that create the show, direct it. They have this 5-season. They've had this 5-season
They've had it all
plan,
yeah.
and it's just like the things, the callbacks, the way that it builds on itself, the way the answers and the two questions you have are very satisfying, and it feels like they're actually going somewhere. It's really good, and the characters are just so fun, and the writing, the dialogue. I mean, it's just
I think season 4
chef's kiss.
I'm
a lot to look forward to.
I mean, I'm super excited. I mean, I'm surprised that I just hadn't watched it before this because it is really good. I mean, I watched season 1, but I don't know why I didn't continue with it because it's really good. And I'm really enjoying it. Having a hard time putting it down. Actually, I'll probably end up watching that later.
Sweet.
But as far as all that goes, that's kind of it for me. Been doing some drawing, generic stuff. If you watched the live stream, you saw a little bit of what I'm working on. A little teaser. I have been reading a little bit of a short story book thing by our very own JL Allred.
That's me. Don't be fooled by my pseudonym. I am the JL.
Which has been really good, actually. I am actually very, very excited. I have a couple of critiques.
Sweet. I'll take them. No, seriously, that's like one of the reasons you're reading them, because
I actually
if there's anything that would stand out, that I would definitely
don't have too many critiques. I have a few not grammatical, but wording things of maybe specifically there's one in my mind where it's one episode ends and then the way the next one begins seems like they were meant to be together, and I think you separated them but didn't take a word out.
Okay.
And I think I took a screenshot. I'll take that later. That's
sweet. I can't wait.
I actually don't have too many critiques about it. I mean, I'm really enjoying it, so I am excited to keep reading and keep seeing what happens with the characters.
I'll be the first buyer.
Yay! Well, yeah, it'll be on an app. So it'll be like episodes that the first I imagine the way they'll do it is the first arc, because I almost think of it as it's basically what I wrote a couple years ago. I wrote the short story for a contest, and but now I'm continuing it, and so that 9 episodes that it amounted to 9 episodes with the way they format their stories. They try to have them be between 750 and 1,200 words, so that they're you can sit down and read an episode in less than 10 minutes, maybe 5 minutes. I think 5 minutes would be 1,000 words. So actually it's a little over 5 minutes, a little under 5 minutes, depending. But yeah, so I kind of think of those as as a prologue almost, because it sets up, it starts off kind of smaller, but now I'm because I'm doing this, I'm continuing it. I'm it's blowing out into a bigger story. So
I'm excited to continue to read it and see what happens with different characters. So I just want you to know that.
Thank you.
What have
Thank
you
you
been
for
up
reading
to?
it.
Other than writing.
Yeah, I've been writing, and that's been its own journey. There's a character, little teaser. If you've read it, some few people have out there. There's a character in the first 9 episodes I was talking about that I've introduced their perspective into the story, and that's been like one of the things I'm the most excited about.
Yes.
So anyway, so I've been writing that. I've been playing some stuff. Been playing Republic Commando.
Ooh, good one.
On the Switch. I got it for the Switch because it was like super on sale.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that game 3 times. That's like one of those games that every platform it comes out on, you're like,
Yep.
oh, I want to buy this again. I don't know why, but maybe it'll be better somehow. Maybe they'll let you save a certain character at the end of the game. Anyway, this guy, we gotta get him. We gotta hold him down.
If he plays the game, he'll 100% want to
Hold me down.
Get you to play Republic Commando, read the books, all that
If
stuff.
he played the game, he'll end up reading the books.
Maybe.
Maybe. We need the audiobook. Oh wait,
They don't. There's someone like did it like someone did a kind of amateur one on YouTube, and it's not bad.
Let's do it.
I've actually thought about it. I've actually thought about like reading.
You guys sound like my parents discussing like how you're going to get your children to.
If we do it, then he'll have to.
Right in front of you.
Yeah.
How are we going to get him to do this? I can hear you.
I'm right here. You can just ask.
It is. You have a Switch though, right?
I do not. I only have an Xbox One.
Okay.
But they have an Xbox. They have an Xbox.
Oh, it is for Xbox One. Yeah.
It's literally all platforms at this point. There's no reason not to own it.
Cool.
Are we making you? Are we making you not want it more?
No, you're making me want it more. I've never really thought about it that much.
It's an older game, but like it's
very innovative for how old it is.
And it's not like it's just a really good campaign.
Is it 360 or
it came out
Xbox?
for I feel like it came out for the original Xbox. But the Xbox One.
Okay.
Well, yeah,
no, they redid it, but for like the later consoles.
They ported it, so it's a little bit
Yes.
improved, but it's not like they didn't like all the graphics aren't remastered. They just made it fit with.
I mean, you don't need a remaster.
Probably
production.
with the servers and.
Well, and like with like TVs, like it can scale
You don't
with
need to
TVs and
remaster
stuff.
perfections.
You really don't. Like if you start playing that game, when you get into the game, you don't even care like that it feels a little old, and it doesn't even feel that old, honestly, with the graphics and stuff. But anyway, great game,
I'm down.
great characters, military sci-fi meets Star Wars.
Although you like those characters a lot less when you read books.
Yeah, they have their moments.
Is it just a story like in the game?
Yeah, story.
There was really back when it came out. The game back when it came out was had really good multiplayer, but they don't have the multiplayer's not live anymore. So the game is just the campaign, but it's a really good
Are
campaign.
they coming out with any other Star Wars games outside of Lego Star Wars?
Jedi Survivor, the sequel to that's another game you played, Jedi Fallen Order. Put it on the old list.
There's what's the Midnight Suns? Is that no? That's
no. Eclipse.
Eclipse. That's a game.
Which that one's like way out. They announced it super early.
I heard there's another one in the making.
Well, there's
actually an iOS/Switch Star Wars game that's free that's coming out sometime.
is that the game that's like
It's supposed to be-
Hunters? Is it called
it's
Hunters?
Like Overwatch.
Yeah, like
It's a game we
Overwatch.
can all play together. Actually,
Okay, do it.
No.
Squad goals. Us.
you get Caleb on there too.
Yeah, there you go. So been playing Republic Commando. I'm reading the first book in the series again.
Good.
Slowly, but I'm reading it again. I'm reading the second Mistborn era books. I'm still on the first one, but I'm pretty good ways into the first one. Really enjoying that. And then what else? Oh, I finished Stranger Things season 4, which blew my mind and broke my heart and all those great things. No, I won't spoil. But yeah, I'm real excited to watch that. Aaron and I are going to watch that together. We haven't started it yet. We'll probably
She's up to
start
season
it.
3, right?
Yeah, she's caught up to season 3. So yeah, we'll watch season 4.
Has she enjoyed the rest of it so far?
Yeah, she loved it. Yeah, she's definitely excited for this season, and I think, and it's a great season. It definitely is like. I mean, I was traumatized by some of the stuff that happened.
Some of the stuff in season 4 is pretty brutal.
But yeah. I've been playing Mario Rabbids Kingdom Battle.
Free right now.
No, it was free. I actually got it after that.
Are you enjoying it? I played it for
I am.
I got the free version and played it for like an hour. I was like, I have more games I could play that's not this, and started playing other games.
I do too, but it's on the Switch, and it's very. I don't have a ton of Switch games that I'm besides Republic Commando. I like it because it's a game that I like playing by myself and with the kids. Mm-hmm. So the kids, I've been teaching them how to play it.
It's a good game.
And it's a good game for the kids because the turn-based, it being a little slower paced, helps them.
It's also good to get them. I don't know. Those games are really fun, but it's better to get into them when they're younger so you can get used to playing them.
Oh yeah,
those games are also hard. They can be hard. I noticed the Mario Rabbids wasn't super difficult.
No, I mean you can change the difficulty, but
like those other games are like they get pretty difficult.
Like XCOM.
Yeah. I mean, they have a new Marvel one coming out, Midnight Suns.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, I saw that.
That actually looks kind of.
I didn't know it was going to be that kind of game.
Yeah, it's that kind of comp. It's basically it's labeled. It's different, but it's labeled kind of as like a Marvel XCOM game.
Oh, okay. So I don't know if there's really much more to talk about except horrible news.
What?
Stormlight 5 was delayed.
Oh, thank you, Steve. But though this comes with sad tidings of Stormlight being delayed,
right?
It does come with good tidings of
great joy
of Hollywood and
because the reason that he's behind on it is because there's some time Hollywood has been making their overtures for some type of adaptations. We don't know exactly what. I mean, he's been talking about a Mistborn movie for a while, but he's also making it sound like there's other stuff they're talking to him about. So
you know what I would really enjoy?
What?
A Mistborn anime.
I know. He won't do it.
Mistborn would go really well as an anime. Better than a live action, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, like a lot of his stuff though is basically anime.
It's written anime.
It's like written anime, but he doesn't want to do the anime. Like he doesn't want to do animated stuff because, in general, you have a lower audience. Less people are paying attention to it, and he wants it to go big, like the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
That's fair.
I
mean, the cosmos is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So.
Right, that's his pitch. It's like fantasy.
That's fair.
Marvel, like.
Well, hopefully they do it all right and do it justice, or I will riot.
Well, and he's gonna be. He was a part of the Wheel of Time, but he could only just give them, like, when they would come to him and say, "What do you think we should do here? We're thinking of doing this," and he would say, "This is what I think you should do," and then sometimes they take his advice, sometimes they wouldn't, and he did some of the most egregious things in this show, which I didn't even watch the whole thing. He told them, if you do this, people will not be happy. And they didn't listen. So he's definitely has said that he's going to be working very closely to get the kind of role that he would need to have a lot of creative control.
Good.
Good. So.
Well.
Anyway.
Well, what do you say we take a quick break?
Do you have anything, Steven?
I thought we went over his Hawaii trip.
We did.
Yeah, Hawaii. I finished Stranger Things.
Did you cry?
I did not cry. Okay, so funny story. I was watching the season finale while our plane was landing.
Oh no!
And so the ending is happening, and like people are standing up, they're grabbing their bags. And I'm like locked on the phone, like not trying. I'm like. People were wandering around, like, not moving. It was just funny. Like, I went and rewatched it because I was like, I feel like this wasn't as
impactful because yeah.
But it was,
heck of an ending. Steven, have you seen the trailer, the new trailer for The Rings of Power that came out this week?
I did not.
What would you guys, are you guys on board with, what if we watch that trailer and react to it for a minute? Like, just, I want to get Steven's reaction.
All right.
So we'll take a break. We're going to come back, react to this new Lord of the Rings show trailer, and then we're going to give the episode 6 of Obi Wan Kenobi a long look and our thoughts.
Hello there. Don't float the mainstream.
Resist.
Radical refreshment.
Oh, you're reading the...
Let it bleed with this brisk new brew that starts out in authentic and tasty. Hallertau? Hallertau? And Mitt Hauptlager Lager. Lightly dosed with a hit of real blood orange juice to deliver a refreshingly cool new beery twist to your taste buds.
Paramedic soul really fried your brain.
Perfect for your pints, pool, patios, ponds, and parties.
Did you say it so?
Welcome back to the Bridge 2 podcast.
Independently brewed since 1997.
In a world. In a world where podcasting must save the world.
We started a podcast.
To fight back.
Welcome back to the Bridge of Two.
In the outer realm, you know.
Yup. Every time we come back from the break and like are laughing,
Takes a second.
Stephanie thinks we're drunk. So we're not.
Giggle.
I mean, hopefully not after.
I haven't had any of this yet.
He pre-gamed.
No.
He's not going back. He's not
you know me, my flask. I always have. This is Sweetwater. Was in Jeremiah's fridge.
Sweetwater Brewing Company. This flavor is Radler Blood Orange.
All I know is it's pretty.
Malt beverage with natural flavors. This was left in our fridge by a friend.
Bottoms up. I like it. Wow. That's good.
It's pretty good, actually.
It's sweet water. I'm sure there's water in it.
It's definitely perfect for a pool and patio.
I'm like I want that in my fridge. Like that. That's good. That's blood orange.
Yes.
I mean, it's definitely a beer, but it's more on the sweet side. Yeah,
Sweeter. Where'd you get that at?
It was in our fridge.
It's got that beer. It's got the beer, like aftertaste but like a good beer aftertaste.
Yeah, it tastes pretty good.
But it's sweet on the front.
Hey, the can is conditioned for fresher taste.
That's it. Fresh sweet water.
Proudly brewed and freshly canned in Fort Collins, Colorado, and Atlanta, Georgia.
So, Steven and Germ, what do you think of the Rings of Power trailer?
Looks really intriguing.
Yeah. Doesn't it?
I also think it looks intriguing. What hit me was the quality of everything, the way it looked.
Yeah.
And like I've said multiple times, this is like I like Lord of the Rings, but I'm not as well knowledgeable in it as you maybe. So I don't really know anything of what's going on in the trailer, but it looks cool. It seems cool, and the special effects and just the production value in general just seems really, really well done.
Yeah, it looks like it fits right in with Lord of the Rings, which is good. Doesn't seem like anything. I just found out about this tonight for the folks at home, but
about the show.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
You just found out about the show?
Remember there was a trailer for this at the Super Bowl. Do you remember that?
I think he was working the Super Bowl.
Oh, were you? Oh, yeah, you were. I think
it was. Yes. So, anyways, I just found out that the show
in September.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
In September, so it's like I don't even have to wait that long. Yeah, visuals looked good. The music was good. The younger characters. It's gonna be interesting to see. I'm gonna have to do a little research and find out more about the show. But
yeah, there's a lot of There's going to be a lot of characters in it. Specifically the elves. There's elves in it that are in Lord of the Rings are just older because it takes place in the Second Age. The Lord of the Rings is in the Third Age, near the end of the Third Age. So this is like thousands of years before Lord of the Rings. But what's really cool though is it's the show will set up the Lord of the Rings in a really cool way. What they're doing, like what I've seen and what I've read about what they're doing, the way they're going to tell the story, which is Tolkien did write about that period of time. It's just not as fleshed out. A lot of it. Some of it is really fleshed out, but a lot of it, as far as character motivate, like individual character motivation and that sort of thing, it was more like the broad, like overhead view.
It's not spelled out as much,
right? But I really think what I'm seeing is that the way it's gonna. People who like The Lord of the Rings are going to love this show if they do it the way it looks like they're going to do it. Because it's going to be like the Rogue One situation where it makes The Lord of the Rings that much cooler. Right.
Story.
Yeah. So,
Sweet.
Seeing like Sauron's origin, sort of the Ringwraith's origins, Galadriel, Elrond, that they're kind of like rising to their stations that you see them at later on and everything. Anyway, so keep your eyes open for Rings of Power.
I don't know. I'm super interested. I hope it's good. I keep seeing videos on YouTube of people like already trashing even this trailer. And I'm like, I don't know if y'all saw that, and I don't want to watch them because I don't want my
there wasn't too much there.
I don't want my view tainted of it either. Like, I haven't watched it.
Yeah, there's honestly, I'm kind of done with a lot of those channels that are just they've got the clickbaity titles of they're just overly critical, and then they have there's like Tolkien fans will hate this, and. To me, it's just it really is. It's kind of the gatekeepy sort of thing.
All those big things,
and it's honestly just like they're looking. It's like clout. They just want. They know
they're going to get viewership,
right?
And all that stuff.
They're going to get wrapped around up.
You're not going to get that here.
Yeah, I'm just not about
it's gonna
that.
Suck.
Right. That's basically how it works.
Give us more views.
Yeah, give us more views. We will. Every single episode will be covered, and the like YouTube algorithm, because of that show will be trending when it's out. Will help their views, but they will trash it every step of the way.
I did it before.
Anyway, now don't get me wrong. I'm not going to be. I have no stake in this. I'm not going to be like defending the show if it's blatantly awful to Tolkien, but.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing too.
It doesn't look like it's going to be.
Videos, like some of the people who do these videos, like there's the one with a Kenobi, actually bring up really valid points, and like I understand, but they also come out of like you're not a true fan if you don't like this. They're coming back like I just didn't like this, and this is why.
Well,
and I appreciate those videos.
I mean, there's two ways. There's like two ways to come at being critical, right? You can be like, this thing. Here's this minor. It may seem minor, but here's why. It kind of is a big deal. Like the idea of, like I'm a little bit not super happy about them doing hobbits because that's a big thing in like Lord of the Rings is nobody knew what hobbits, like nobody knew who the hobbits were. Like other people didn't really know about the hobbits. Like Treebeard was like the oldest creature and he didn't know what hobbit was, So you don't want to break the continuity by being like, oh yeah, hobbits are doing like really important things in...
Although they could be,
that would be a little bit too much,
right?
I mean, they still could be doing relatively important things without people knowing. I mean,
right? They can.
I will say what I got from the trailer, because I remember you talking about that. What I got from this trailer was that they're not going to be very well known,
right?
They're going to be kind of in the outskirts,
and that's a good way to do it, But what I'm saying is like you can say that and be like, this is why this is kind of a problem, blah 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 blah, or you could be like, you could just be like. Because they're doing this, it's all just it's all crap. It's all horrible, Anyway, So it's just a matter of the intensity, I guess.
I guess we'll see in September.
We will.
We
The
should
world
watch party.
will be watching. Yeah. I'm all for it.
Oh crap, I stole the car out. We're still Lord of the Rings.
Moment in Hawaii.
Tell me about it.
I texted you about it.
But tell us. Tell us.
We were.
Mountain Dew.
I wish. No, we were in North Shore, which is like the west side of the mountain or island. And we were swimming out, and I had like a Samwise moment of like, if I take one more step, it'll be the farthest away from home I've ever been. But I've never like I knew that was the farthest away from home I was ever gonna be, and I was just like, Lord of the Rings, Samwise, here we are. Everyone wishes they could have that moment.
You want to know how I know that
That's
I
true.
married the right person? Because every time we travel anywhere further than we've been before, Stephanie goes, "This is the farthest I've ever been from home." Every single time.
So you should say. Yep. But
And
anyways,
that's how I know I married the right girl.
That's awesome.
we're going on trips farther and farther away every time.
I mean, not really, but I actually think she just says every time we leave Florida, to be honest with you.
Probably. Anyways.
Considering that she's been all the way to Paris, I mean, she can't really go any. We haven't gone further.
Yeah.
Anyway, Star Wars, yes.
Yes.
Kenobi.
What do we think of Obi Wan Kenobi Episode 6?
Initial impressions. Go.
He said the line, and
Yeah, there was so much payoff.
Story.
So much payoff in like fan service in this episode. Not in a really bad. Like I loved
No,
it.
I watched episode 6 in my room by myself, and I was vocally like excited about things.
You're the Leonardo DiCaprio meme.
Yes.
It's like,
Yeah.
like pointing at the TV.
Pointing at the TV.
That's it.
That
He
was
said
me
it.
in my room all. I think the episode started out decent, but it really, honestly, for me, it kind of kicked into gear when Kenobi and Vader faced off.
Yeah, when the lightsabers
I mean, that's
ignited.
the crux of the episode right there.
Right, that's what everyone was. Everyone knew it was coming. The only thing, like to start off, the episode started, and I didn't really think about this at the time because you're like, they're gonna fight, they have to fight,
Mm-hmm.
make them fight, you know. But the way, unfortunately, they kind of like back themselves a little bit into a writing corner where you have an
Disney.
Imperial Star Destroyer, right? You have an Imperial Star Destroyer chasing down a little ship the hyperdrive isn't working.
Looks like just like beginning of A New Hope.
And Vader's like, no, follow Kenobi. And like that part doesn't bother me. That he's like, no, let's follow Kenobi. But there's like a couple things. Like they could have still they could have sent TIE fighter, like, right. It's like it's not like it's just an Imperial Star Destroyer. It would have had TIE fighters.
Probably, yeah.
You know, they could have.
But we
I don't
don't know how far that ship was going to go. The TIE fighters don't have jump hyperdrive capabilities, so they can't go far from the Star Destroyer as it is.
I mean, they went pretty far from the Death Star in A New Hope, right? Far enough.
Vader's did. Vader had hyperspace capability. The other TIEs didn't.
I
Well,
don't
you
know.
would
So you're
expect, you would
saying
expect their
they
ship.
should have sent TIE fighters out to attack the ship?
Well, I guess it just seemed like it wasn't an either or. Like, have to pick, you know?
I mean, it was very just like Star Wars, like, oh no, small ship being followed by...
Yeah. Well, that didn't bother me. I guess
I feel like there's always...
that, yeah, it's true, I
There's
guess.
always a bigger fish. No, I get what you're saying. Like it could have been like a send out TIE fighter, or send like another ship. What I don't understand is why Vader didn't just take his ship that he flew down to the planet and just let the Star Destroyer continue to go after that ship.
Right, because that was another thing people have talked about, like, what was the Star Destroyer doing while he
Wait, did
was
it not?
fighting?
No, he said we're going after Kenobi. They turned around and went after Kenobi.
I mean, I guess, like, you could assume that maybe they did, but they didn't get... If
Yeah,
they
I
did
didn't
go
even
after it,
think
they
about
didn't
that, 'cause
succeed.
I thought that Vader just left them with his ship, and then... Because you never see the ship or the Star Destroyer again.
I mean, you do see the Star Destroyer divert, like, turning.
It does turn.
It's like, no,
Turns Kenobi.
over here.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I wanted to get them to get to fighting, so I was just like, whatever.
Yeah,
I don't care.
I was gonna say it's just like
Even if it slightly doesn't make sense. Once they got down there, though, and started fighting, it was just all the dialogue was just amazing. Like so much callbacks, in the dialogue.
seriously probably one of my favorite lightsaber battles in the Star Wars universe, live action universe, because there's some really good animated lightsaber battles, but the weight of it in general, the choreography was astounding. I thought, it's really nice seeing force abilities used during lightsaber combat more.
Yeah, it was a much more heavy force fight.
And then just the emotion behind it, and like especially at the end, which we'll get to, but like, yeah, definitely one of my favorites.
The setting was cool too. Like it was a different, having these like big rock like spire type things that they're like fighting in between, and using
the moon they were on was really cool. I like the visuals of it, but what is there a name of it?
There is. I just don't know what it is. I'm sure Google knows.
Actually, I was telling you guys earlier, there's a video. If you go and look on YouTube, there's probably a lot of these out there, like analysis of the fight scene. But this guy is a medieval sword fighting expert or whatever, and so he watches sword fights and shows and movies and stuff, and kind of talks about how he's not like really harshing on stuff. He just kind of says, this was, you would normally do this because it leaves you open in this way or whatever. He, just gives like the realism of it from a medieval sword fighting perspective. And he said that this from all the lightsaber fights that he's watched and covered, that this is probably the most realistic. And there's like, they're changing grips from the way they're holding the lightsaber. They're changing stances. They're using grapples where they're grabbing each other, pulling each other off kilter. Things like that, using the terrain and things. So just a very, that's a very cool video. If you can find it, if you enjoyed this fight and wanted to see more about it, but
there is no name for the moon as of right now. On the wiki, it is labeled "The Duel on the Barren Moon." So
interesting. Lots of cool visuals. That's really cool. That I'd give credit to the choreographers for doing all that. They probably had to focus on that for the fight, probably. Then,
right? Well, I mean,
there's more.
Man, I mean, that can you imagine if it was the other way? Like, can you imagine if you were like, you saw the fight in episode 3 of Kenobi that was like a lot of people were really disappointed in, or like, this is not what I wanted to see Vader and Kenobi, how I wanted to see them fighting, especially specifically on this Obi-Wan side, and then you're waiting, and then episode 6 comes and you watch the fight and you're just like, seriously, like, and I mean, there has been a lot of stuff looked at with the sequels and their lightsaber fights, and they just don't hold up, and to hardly any scrutiny.
Even compared to like some of the original trilogy,
right?
Which has good choreography, but isn't as flashy as the prequels,
right?
Whereas the sequels are like, they have the ability to be flashy and good choreography, and they kind of fail on both.
Yeah,
right. And so so kudos to them for understanding this. The stakes were pretty big for the show's success if they were to not deliver on that fight scene in episode 6. And I mean, in general, I would say kudos. I think the whole thing with Reva, Reva's character, there's just a lot of stuff with her they're trying to do, and that it just didn't quite work all the time. And so then because they decide to do this sort of redemption arc with her, this quick redemption arc, they are having her, like, her whole thing is about revenge on Vader, so she's going after Luke for revenge. And a lot of people, didn't really love that and the time that was spent on that. But overall, the episode, I think the episode 6 was like really strong, maybe the strongest episode. And, I think really helped the show overall. I would say it's a successful show.
Yeah.
It's not everything it could have been, for sure.
I don't think the fight between Kenobi and Darth Vader was overdone. I think it was a lot, but it was good. There wasn't, there's a lot of things going on. There's a lot of depth and back and forth. And there's all the rocks and stuff. The only place where I thought it was kind of pushing it was when Kenobi was throwing the rocks at Darth Vader, but it was still just like you just had to take like that's just Obi-Wan pretty much like at his best.
Yeah, they're trying to. I mean, they were delivering.
That he was back,
right? And they were, they were keeping it fitting with continuity. That the last time they meet, like Vader says in A New Hope, when last we met, I was but the learner. So they really needed to show that Obi-Wan in just about every way was still had the upper hand over Vader. And there's something about this show that I think it's very interesting to have how they did, Obi-Wan dealing with his trauma and the effects of that, right? And then Vader dealing with, kind of his trauma, this new identity and being just angry, and wanting revenge on Obi-Wan and that is all very interesting. I feel like, and I don't know if did we talk about this in the last episode? I feel like I think maybe you said it, Jeremiah, so it being 10 years from episode 3 is kind of one of the things that holds the show back a little bit. For some people, it's hard to believe that Vader isn't more masterful at this point, and that Obi-Wan isn't. It's hard to believe that Obi-Wan's been basically like this messed up for 10 years, And if this show was like 2 years after,
make it a little bit more.
It would make a lot more sense that all this stuff is so fresh still. But because they were having the kids in the show, yes. That's really what made them make it the time frame that it is that, you can't have 2-year-old Leia, So because they wanted to tell that story, they made that choice to say, we're going to still do this story, but it's going to be more time has gone by.
I don't know. My biggest gripe with the episode, or my biggest, gripe, I guess, would just be the Reva stuff. Not because I don't even like the character, because I actually understand what they did with the character, and I don't mind her character arc either. I don't like that it took half the episode was her. I don't care about her. I care about Obi-Wan and Darth Vader. Mm-hmm. I want to see what's going on there. I wanted the show to be progressing them, not be progressing this new character that is going to do all these things in the end that I don't even fully understand. Not only that, but I still am just irritated that people just get stabbed in the stomach now twice and don't die. It's just one of those things. But everything else was, just the emotion in the fight. And also the parallels, it rhymes, to their fight on Mustafar where I think Vader is just like, are you here to defeat me or something like that?
Are you here to kill me?
You're here to kill me, and Obi-Wan says, I'll do what I must.
Yeah.
And then does his awesome lightsaber stance that's super corny. Mm-hmm. And they have their battle, and then you get to the battle, and you get to the emotional halfway point where Vader, you think it's, Vader's just gotten the upper hand, basically buries Obi-Wan alive, which is brutal. Mm-hmm. And then Obi-Wan remembers what he's there for.
Yeah.
And I think this is where Obi-Wan starts to kind of understand, too, what it means to use a lightsaber. It's okay to have love and passion for others when used correctly. Yeah. That's an interesting way to think about it. Because in the prequels, it's a passion and care for others isn't bad, but when it's too much care and passion for others is a bad thing. Because passion is what leads to the dark side. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It seems like Obi-Wan is kind of in this moment, he's
almost using it,
but he's not using it in a dark side way.
Right.
And it shows that having passion towards people you care about isn't a dark side trait.
Right.
It's how it's used, and it's how letting that passion overwhelm you. And that's what I think it allows him to come back and defeat Vader. And then you have the freaking amazing scene where half of Vader's mask is gone.
Yeah.
And you see Anakin's face, and plus Hayden Christensen, who even seeing only half his face can see all the emotion there.
Mm.
You know, and Obi-Wan is just like, I'm sorry. And just apologizing to his Padawan, his brother.
Yeah.
And then this is where he truly learns that Anakin has died, and this is why we get Episode 5, or Empire Strikes Back. Obi-Wan, who's like, your father is no longer there. He was killed by Vader.
Right.
Because
makes all that make sense.
You have Anakin being like, Anakin Skywalker's no longer here. Basically, he's dead. I killed him.
Yeah. Right. Takes that weight off of Obi-Wan. I don't know. I don't think he was trying to. It was more of a pride thing. Anakin's like, I'm not your failure,
It was more of a pride thing.
But it did give Obi-Wan closure, to be able to say what he was feeling, what he'd been feeling and thinking for 10 years, that he failed him and that he is responsible for everything Vader's doing. Like anything that happens
is his fault.
Is his fault, basically. And he was able to, sadly, have that closure that his friend was truly dead. Which that was
not even
sad.
And it's not even that it was his fault. I think Anakin may have been, or Vader might have been trying to like get at Obi-Wan maybe, or what. I don't, you don't really know his intentions there, but like, what really happened. I mean, ultimately, what is being said is it's not your fault that this happened. It's mine. It's almost as if Anakin's apologizing in the moment of like, Obi-Wan, you didn't do this. I did. I killed Anakin.
Well, there is that people have talked about that scene, right? There's the color changes, the lighting. Sometimes there's like blue light on Anakin's face, and then he's got regular eyes, and then sometimes there's red, and he's got the Sith eye, and so there was. I do think they were trying to communicate some conflict and some back and forth between Anakin's light side and the persona Darth Vader that he, had allowed to take over.
And I'm pretty sure that's a thing in the comics too, that he struggles with that Anakin versus Darth Vader split. So
there's a lot of conflict on both sides as far as, Anakin and Darth Vader, and then Obi-Wan having to be super aggressive and wanting to kill Darth Vader, but also kind of as soon as he saw Anakin, I think he realized, who he was.
Real quick. I just remembered another grip I have.
What?
Right before the Obi-Wan Vader fight, you have Obi-Wan meditating, trying to talk to Qui-Gon. I have to do it, Master. This is it. Either he dies or I do.
Right.
Proceeds to walk away after the fight without killing Vader. It's like, come on.
Yeah, I had a tough time with that.
I was like, I get it. I mean, obviously Vader can't die. But
right.
Why have this scene? Why put this scene in here?
Yeah.
I thought about that too. I wish there was a better way that they could split up rather than kind of like, okay, well, bye. Like,
I'm just walking away and leaving you alive.
He's right there. Just go kill him and it's over. But obviously you can't because
continuity and
thing. But
I mean, it is a Star Wars thing, right? That
I guess it's a Jedi.
It is a Star Wars thing of not killing. Someone like, especially, I mean, obviously you don't use your anger to kill is obviously a Jedi thing, but like, in Return of the Jedi, that's, how Luke decides to fight Sidious is to not kill him.
But see, I don't even mind that either. Like, if that's what happened, like, I've grown up watching Star Wars. I get that's Star Wars. That's just how it is. But don't have Obi-Wan have this meditation conflict within himself or talking to Qui-Gon saying that either he dies or I do.
The line did not make sense.
Because that doesn't make sense when you just all of a sudden have him now leaving. Because he had the opportunity to kill him and he didn't. Like, what happened to the line that happened 10 minutes ago where he said either he dies or I do. It just, I don't mind him walking away and not killing Vader. I don't think it's that big of a deal. I can suspend my belief till that happened. But with him specifically him saying that line, 20 minutes prior in the episode, throws it all off for me. It's just like, okay, well, what's going on here?
Yeah, that is a hard one because it's like, he's not gonna die. But it does feel like he made the same mistake twice, kind of thing, where he walked away from Anakin and on Mustafar, which that's a little more plausible, I think. It's like on fire, dying, and I think I heard like in the novelization, like Sidious is like arriving or something, so Obi-Wan's kind of like had to get out of there.
Yeah.
But in this, it's just such a conscious choice for him to just turn around and leave,
Although I guess technically, I don't know, you could really spin like, well, he said either Anakin dies or I do. And he said, well, then my friend Truly is dead.
Yeah.
Technically, Anakin died and he left.
I mean, the only thing that would make sense to me,
it's really, really stretching for something there.
The only thing that would make sense to me is if he did believe like that. Okay, I beat him badly enough that he's not a threat anymore. But that just doesn't make sense. And
one wouldn't be that.
Yeah, and that's the same mistake from Episode 3. It's like 3 limbs gone. He's he's fallen into the fire. He can't do any more damage or whatever.
Obi-Wan is the reason Alderaan is dead.
Oh man, yeah.
Second time.
Just have to.
A lot of people are dead because of Darth Vader.
I hope his Force Ghost lives with that regret.
I know we're not griping about the show too much, but I just wanted to say I thought they spent way too much time on Reva and her little strike mission to kill Luke.
Oh, agreed. 100%.
I thought like they were switching back and forth between Kenobi and Darth Vader and then Reva and doing her thing, but they didn't make it. Obviously, we all know Luke's gonna live. We know
Beru and
Uncle Owen live. So like, what's really there to add there versus like what's going on between Darth Vader and Kenobi?
Yeah,
that's obviously way more important. And I know you had mentioned that earlier, but I just wanted to say like as well, like nothing even ended up happening. Nothing even came close to happening with all of that, and they spent half of the season finale of her just like.
Yeah, what Luke
going around.
Luke ran up a cliffside, fell down, lost consciousness, and the Reva carried him back. Like,
But I thought it was super cool that Maru had the guns hidden away. She's like a little survivalist.
Yeah,
she was would have told Uncle Owen like, "We're staying. We're defending."
I thought that was cool. And I did enjoy watching. That the home, where Luke grew up, and they're fighting in there, and
right.
It's so abnormal looking for that,
in that room, yeah. I mean, in that house, yeah. It definitely makes you like this show definitely does make you like appreciate Owen and Beru more,
Right.
And it served the purpose too. I think it was kind of trying to show Obi-Wan that to a certain degree that I think it was lifting a little bit of the burden on Obi-Wan. It's like, I'm not the only one protecting him, and he doesn't need to be, maybe it's better. Like he doesn't need to be a Jedi yet. We don't have to figure that out yet. I mean, that's where he comes to at the end of the episode or the end of the episode, which is obviously that is I mean, like, cause that's a little bit of an explanation for A New Hope because, like we talked about in the last episode, Obi-Wan didn't seem like in a huge hurry to train Luke until the Empire was on the doorstep, until the Empire was like, it was like, we can't ignore it anymore. And he got the message from Leia, but, here's one thing about Reva. So I liked the moment of her. I thought it was interesting. The moment of her, seeing Luke like, okay, I want to kill him. I'm going to kill him. And then she cannot do it, even though, and she's like upset that she can't do it. She's crying and everything, but it's because she's seeing herself. She's like, this is me. Like, I'm just doing the same thing. The cycle continues if I do this. And I thought that was an interesting, like outcome of her trauma. The only problem is it's like, but what were you doing all this time? Like, why is this just now the moment?
Yes.
Where you have that realization? Like, that makes sense.
Who
it makes sense to have that realization.
She's chopping hands off. Like,
Well, she had Leia strapped in.
That's true.
You know, and there did seem to be some conflict there. She was like, you know, so I don't know if she would have gone all the way through it, but she was pretty dang close. You know, like, you're making me do this, you know.
I thought how much she cried. I guess she had like a breakthrough moment, but there was
her Dr. Phil moment.
Yeah, I just thought there was like way too much weeping. I guess
it seems like they tried to do what I didn't like about once again, I don't necessarily mind that little story arc in that episode. Like, I agree with you, Steven, like, it's just, it doesn't amount to anything except for, I guess, her redemption, kind of, but even then it's just like,
yeah, but no one cares.
Not only that, but like, it's still not really earned to me. I don't know.
I don't think anyone went into episode 6 saying, I really hope Reva becomes good, or just like doesn't really do anything. Like, I went
into episode 6 hoping Reva was dead already. But that being said, it seems like what they were trying to do, they were trying to do like an episode 3 Palpatine versus Yoda and Obi-Wan Anakin.
Oh yeah, have a simultaneous, yeah.
But they.
Well, and it's the tension. It's the tension for Obi-Wan needs to get back. With
episode 3, those fights matched each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like, I think Anakin was a little bit cooler, a little bit more exciting. But at the same time, you're also like, oh my gosh, this is Yoda and Sidious fighting. So you have that, like, back and forth that works. Whereas here, it's like, you have Obi Wan Kenobi. Heck yeah, this is awesome. This is so strong. And you have Reva freaking chasing after Uncle Beru, or Uncle Owen and Uncle Beru.
Yeah.
It's like...
Okay. This is how they could have done, like, made it make more sense the way Obi-Wan left Vader. Okay. He already knows something's wrong, right? He sensed it at the end of episode 5. You know, whenever she, like, hears that thing, he senses something's wrong. So he's like, he kind of knows that she knows something. I don't know exactly what he knows, but he senses something's wrong in the Force. And then at the end, when he does leave Vader, he senses it again, and he's kind of like, okay, he punches the hyperspace to get to Tatooine. Would have been too late, but he's in it. But that's the tension, right? It's like, Obi-Wan's got to get back there because she's chasing down Luke. So if you had Obi-Wan, and that was a thing too, is like, they were kind of pushing this idea, or in like episode 5, remember whenever they wouldn't let him leave, the people were like, kept telling him he didn't need to leave. You don't need to leave. But they're kind of pushing this idea that you don't really have to do this. You just, you have this kind of thing, you're kind of stuck on Vader, and you can't let go of him. I mean, like, I was annoyed by that scene where they were like, you know, taking a crap on his sacrifice, you know, that he's going to divert them away. But the idea that he is kind of stuck on Vader, you know, I think was true to an extent, like, for both of them. They were both kind of wrapped up in what happened with each other. But so that would have been a really interesting character moment for him to be fighting Vader and be like, have the upper hand with Vader and be like, okay, I said I'm going to kill him. If it comes down to me or him, I'm going to kill him. But then, like, there's like, maybe throughout the fight, there's this nagging pulling where it's like he's having almost these like Force flashes of like what's happening with Luke, that Luke's in trouble, and he's kind of resisting that, trying to keep fighting. And then finally he realizes in that moment where he's fighting Vader, he's close to killing him, but he still like would have to fight him more. Mm-hmm. Then he's like,
I just gotta go.
You know, there's that they could have that dialogue in some similar fashion, and then say, you know, I have someone else. You know, I have someone else I need to save. Right. You know, my friend's dead, but I could still save someone else. You know, or kind of that internal thought that could have pulled him away. And then it's like, he is making that decision to leave Vader alive, but it's because he's going to save Luke. Mm-hmm. That would have, I feel like, made it a little better.
What I'm hearing is that you should have written this episode.
Yes,
100%.
Because that would have been way better.
I would have just added more depth to what's already going on, because you bring up a good point where you know that he knows Luke is in trouble, but he doesn't really seem rushed to get out of there. He's just kind of like
it makes
obviously after the drama of the fight and like he's tired and
it adds tension to the fight, right? It adds tension to the fight because there's the tension that's there is there because of their relationship, their history, their past, and everything, and that's all good, and that's what makes that dialogue that's such a good payoff. Mm-hmm. But it would make it like more meaningful to like the present story in a way too if it was there was that tension of like if he stays and sees this all the way through, like Luke might die, you know.
And then it can even be like a kind of like you were saying, he's getting like these forced flashes. That's how you do your cutovers, where it's like Obi-Wan is getting this hit of a flash almost,
and that would make
it the cutover to Reva. And then you can almost have it too of like, you know, when you still want to have this conversation, and Anakin or Vader's like, you know, you didn't kill Anakin, I did. And he's like, well, my friend Shirley's dead. And then, you know, you can even have it almost implied that, like, now we want to do everything. I can't save this Skywalker.
Right.
But I can save that one.
Right.
And then you have a scenario, and this is where I think they also mess up. You have a scenario where instead of Reva being redeemed, Obi-Wan saves Luke.
I thought...
Yeah, that would be better.
Because that would have made a really good...
And that would make those cutovers more about Obi-Wan and not about what's happening with Reva.
Yes.
But
I don't know if them making Reva good is like a... There's going to be more about that in potentially a season 2 or something.
I think they're intentionally trying to make a new Reva show.
It crossed my mind when Obi-Wan was going to Tatooine that there was going to be this, like, before Reva kills Luke, her and Obi-Wan were going to face off. I thought that would have been way cooler than what happened.
I agree.
And, like, not that people turning... I mean, yeah, she turned good. And,
you're right.
You know, we all say,
a good bad guy is just as good as a good guy, though.
Yeah. I just thought that... I thought that, like, if Obi-Wan got there, and then, like, that's why Luke didn't get harmed as a little kid, or that's why, like, he's still alive, and...
Yeah.
Is because Obi-Wan went and...
Wasn't there even a scene in A New Hope where Luke is talking about how Ben has saved him once, or is it maybe this is a book I've read?
I don't know. I mean,
I don't know if he mentioned.
I feel like that's in a book,
and it could even, yeah, it's probably in a book, but like it could even be like a Luke. That's what Luke was referencing, but he doesn't remember the way that it actually happened with Reva.
Mm-hmm.
I think he says about Tusken Raiders or something like that.
He knows who Old Ben is.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Yeah,
maybe you may be right. There's a lot of little dialogue like that you forget about in those movies, but you know that's a good point too about like Obi-Wan facing off against Reva. You know, would have made that would have been the kind of the payoff of his decision of like I'm leaving this fight to go for this fight that actually matters, you know, or at least matters in terms of like the immediacy of saving someone I'm supposed to be protecting, you know.
But I guess, I mean, if that was going to happen, you wouldn't have that moment where Reva sees herself with Luke.
No, you wouldn't.
That tied other things, other aspects of the show.
Did. Right.
I don't think you
into
need
that moment, but that, yeah.
For Reva. Like, I think Reva could have stayed a bad guy and it would have been fine.
No, you're right. I think like if they're doing the redemption arc thing though, it's more, you have to have that moment of that her having the realization on her own. But if it's not about, like you said, if it's not about necessarily her redemption, but she could still be redeemed. She could still be redeemed, and it could be kind of just a consequence of Obi-Wan coming back. Like, instead of fighting her and killing her, you know, she could have had some kind of realization while fighting Obi-Wan. You know, he could have been talking to her. There could have been some dialogue there.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, too. It was like, he has some sort of dialogue, and he says, like, you're doing exactly what happened to you. He's the one who helped you recall those memories, which, you know, helps her to not be a bad person.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought that was gonna happen. Actually, yeah. I thought there was gonna be a fight. I thought that's why I was like, this is gonna have to be a really long episode because he's gonna have to fight Vader and Reva. And that's why it was confusing whenever it's like they're both happening at the exact same time. I'm like, how is he gonna get
that moon
there?
Thing must have been pretty close to Tatooine because he got there in like 5 minutes.
Yeah, I don't think Disney understands how hyperspace works. So.
That was quick.
Well, yeah, I heard someone.
Episode 8.
I heard someone say that this is not like even though it felt that way because of the way they showed the scenes and everything, they implied that they weren't saying that it was happening concurrently.
They should have put it.
So what they were showing with like Luke and that whole thing would have been actually like happening like in theory while Obi-Wan is already flying back to Tatooine, but just the way they cut back and forth made it feel like. But I just think that person was maybe
that's
kind of giving a plausible explanation, trying to help Disney out a little bit, because it's like I just don't know how you could watch that and just say that's what's happening here.
There is no context clues into that's what's happening.
Yeah, unless Obi-Wan like said something to Reva like I saw you so and so days ago or something along those lines, or, that would like give you an idea of how much time had passed between that and the other thing. But yeah.
Although real quick too, what? I just have one small huge gripe with the entire. This is with the entire show, not just this. I want the Star Wars soundtrack.
Oh, yes.
Star Wars music, and we didn't get any of it. They even made a big deal of bringing John Williams back to the show, and he did one song. I'm pretty sure.
He did
He scored the trailer, and he did the Obi-Wan...
Yeah, the little, 3-second thing at the beginning.
Yeah, it's not even...
It's that they have some other composer do whatever, and it's just like... I don't know. And that's my other gripe with Kathy Clinton is I'm pretty sure she's the one that's, she's the one that, cut that down. Right.
I mean, the music definitely was not, Star Wars is known for the music. The music adds a lot, and definitely the music didn't add much to the show. And I feel like the music was good. I feel like there were a couple moments where it's like, okay, they did the music better here.
Not all of it's bad.
But
there's some good stuff in it. But, especially with I don't know. I watched I think I sent this to you. I don't know if I sent it to you, Steven, but it was the Darth Vader Obi-Wan fight, but with the Battle of the Heroes soundtrack, basically. And man, it just makes it so much more impactful for me. I don't know. It's just the music. I don't know what it is. But,
yeah.
And I get that it's rehashing and they're wanting to do something new, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's my grade.
Yeah. No, I feel you.
Now we get to the next day.
I like that scene a lot. With, you see Kenobi meet Luke.
It says hello there.
Yeah, we don't even just see him meet Luke. He says the line.
He says the line.
Yeah. Sparks fly.
Immediately the next day there was the meme of he says hello there and Luke Skywalker.
They're ready.
Grows forearms.
General Kenobi.
And then I think the most excited I've been about the whole show was Qui-Gon.
Yes. They finally did it.
I forgot completely about it. I was content with what I just watched.
Uh-huh.
And in a good mood. I'm all right, that was a good fight. Cool, we said the line. And Luke, he's walking away. And I'm all right, that's it. And then all of a sudden Qui-Gon pops up and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was
especially since there is stuff out there recently of Liam Neeson being I don't make come back to Star Wars for a movie.
Yep. Yeah, he was
very adamant of
he's been
I feel like they would have put
deceiving
him in the show more if he wasn't so.
Maybe. But he said he was I had to come back.
It's sort of
Ewan's a good friend. He had such a good blast on episode 1. And he's and plus it's just I have to do justice to the character. Basically I can't let them do something else with this character.
Right.
Which props to him for that.
Yeah, he does. He deserves. Which he's going to be doing some voice work for Tales of the Jedi apparently, which is animated. Oh, he did.
His character's in the Clone Wars. I'm assuming he did.
Okay. Well, yeah, that was a great cameo, and
I think it was one of the best.
I do think that that was kind of what they were going. I think they wanted to save it for the end.
Definitely less is more.
Yeah, right. If it was them talking throughout the whole thing, it'd complicate things. And Obi-Wan had to kind of figure things out on his own, find his way, reestablish himself in the Force on his own, so,
Yep.
But it did, it did tie that off that, like, yes, Qui-Gon is listening.
What took you so long?
Didn't think you were ready yet. Or something like that.
Still a master at heart.
Oh, Master, you know what to say.
Oh, come on.
You just always
We got a
know.
long journey or something like that.
He said long journey
So
ahead.
he's just gonna watch him in his cave for.
Yeah.
He's getting his hut now.
Or hut,
Yeah, he'll have the
whatever
hut.
it is.
That's our bell.
I guess time's up.
And good night.
All in all, I enjoyed the episode. Obviously, I have my gripes, as I do. As most people have gripes with different things. But
There was a little bit of this was almost what our episode was named last time. Because in addition to saying it rhymes a lot, you were saying Disney-fied.
It's Disney-fied.
So there
It's
was
Star Wars.
There was definitely some Disney-fied
It's just
stuff in it.
Disney.
it is Disney.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah.
But
Definitely
no, it was
Disney.
a good episode.
Let's not forget the great scene with Leia and Obi-Wan at the end, right?
Oh,
That
yeah.
was also
He
really
returns Lola to her,
Mm.
and
He'll
he
never be seen again.
Yeah.
Ending the
right
episode.
died on Alderaan.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even think about that. I thought it was cool. One thing about that was the next time that Leia sees Obi-Wan is right before he's about to get
I know they don't really even get to talk.
slaughtered.
Schmingo.
What?
I don't know. Just whatever. What'd you say? Schmingo. And then you said Schvadered. This episode being called Schvadered.
Obi-Wan got Schvadered.
But yes, and Obi-Wan kneeling down and being like, I do know your parents.
Yeah, that was a nice payoff.
You
And
have, this of your mother and this of your father. Brings tears to an old man's eyes. Well,
some old man.
25-year-old's eyes.
Yeah. Well, and I don't know. He basically didn't he say like, if your father ever needs anything, reach out to me or something along those lines. So kind of like
you know where to find me.
yeah, kind of teed up the message. 10 years later. So
It rhymes.
It- like that was a very strong ending with just tying off all those loose ends and everything. Right, just ending the rhyme on a strong note. So, well, anything else? Anyone?
I don't think so.
Well, then this has been a Bridge of Two podcast.
Far, far away bridge.
Bridge.
Nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Oh, there's a great. Let's not forget the great. I thought a great scene
What
with.
are you saying?
Did you have a stroke there, dude?
I don't know. Sometimes I'm saying things and I think of this other thing, and then so I jump back and I start over.
I can't wait to hear that again when I watch this episode. That was awesome.
I-
Leave that in.
No. You won't hear it because when I hear I'm so critical of myself when I'm listening
Release
to this.
the unedited clip.